Hello and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss, the book club. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Unit. Stick with us a couple of seconds and we will talk about Flywater. Nothing. I'm just making sure. Yeah, we are definitely
This
live.
time for sure?
We're definitely because I can see us right here.
Okay,
And we're getting the welcome back from YouTube. YouTube is happy to see us, apparently.
cool. All right. Well, we hope that you are happy to see us as well. And if you are, please take a moment to give us a thumbs up and like this video, share it with your social media contacts, and let them know we are live. And then make sure you have subscribed and click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we go live or release a new video.
Go ahead.
And now it's time for really quiet housekeeping.
Oh, really quickly.
Oh,
Okay, that was loud.
it sounded more like dancing or something. Okay, housekeeping. First off, let us thank our moderators, Jimmy Fast, Joel Lewicki, Jason Eunice, Brian Eagle, and Eric Schmidt. They keep our chat room safe and the conversation flowing. Our presentation today will be followed by an open Q&A in the chat room and a special surprise. Toby's figured out how to take calls, so we're going to try that out again today.
Yeah.
After the presentation. So if you have something that you'd like to talk about, especially as it pertains to the book, The Thrill of the Chase, and today's chapter 22, Flywater, make sure that you know that 1-800 number and get ready to call in as soon as the presentation's over. Right? And that 1-800 number is?
1-800-947-1043. It'll be on the lower half. So the phone lines are off right now. If you could try to call right now, you will go directly to voicemail, which I've actually figured out how to play if we have to. But we'll turn that on when we start the chat so that we're not interrupting our presentation. The other thing I found out about that 1-800 number is you can also send a text message. So if you want immediate attention, send a text message. Make sure your name and what state you what's the right way to say that grammatically?
Put your name and where you're from.
I don't know if that's good grammar, but what the heck?
What?
Okay.
From? You don't like to end it with
in the
from?
text, isn't that dangling participle?
Yeah, but people don't care anymore.
All right. So
You're lucky if they talk to you at all.
good point. Thank you. What a nice thing to say. Okay, so I had promised to make some announcements last week, and we didn't get a chance because we were goofing around. All this week has been goofing around with gremlins. And I don't know how much you know about me, but honestly, I hate gremlins, and I will fight to beat them back to within an inch of their life and let them return to from whence they came. There you go. That's the one I was going to say. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you saw how excited I got when I met this gentleman. His name is High Plains. His screen name is High Plains Drifter. His real name is Jack Selvage. His wife's name is Johnetta. And he showed up at the
Raffle drawing
event,
Jordan.
And he kept trying to get my attention. And literally, I was so busy, I had to keep apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, just I'm trying to get the wireless up, and the wireless is down, and the camera, etc. And I kept I don't want to say I was brushing him off. I was as polite as I could be while I was as busy as I was. But at the end, I'm closing out the show, and he stands behind one of the tables as I'm looking out into the audience, and he holds up the baby mammoth skull. And I realized at that point he had found the coin that we had hidden back at the end of August in our search area. So I brought him on, and we had this wonderful conversation about how he had gone through, because I know, where we hid it requires some, forest road travel, and then some four-wheel drive travel, and then some crossing of rivers, and then some hiking in order to find that. So he put a lot into it. Anyway, at the point that they were talking, he mentioned that he might go back up there for a couple of days, but then they had to get back home. And if I remember, it was Oklahoma, because that's the baseball cap he's wearing there. Anyway, I got this message from him on Wednesday, and I wanted to read it just because it was so kind. AGK, Jack Selvage, a.k.a. High Plains Drifter here. Glad I got to meet you and Jason Santa Fe last week. Sorry I missed meeting Shelley. Wife and I are camping in our fifth wheel just west of Antonito on Road 5D. Been here 3 days. Now, this was literally a week after we had seen him at the Collected Works bookstore. Boots on the ground in Toltec Canyon. 2 days, very confident that this is the location of the treasure chest. In all, have hiked and searched about 8 miles total, according to my pedometer. Spent several hours moving rocks and looking in crevices, and feel I have only scratched the surface. Jack, that's exactly how we feel every time we go out there. Had planned on leaving today for our next destination, Telluride, Colorado, but am feeling confident and have decided to stay a few more days, as we are not on any time schedule. Do not have to return to Oklahoma until October 10th. Oh, your birthday.
Yay. Good job remembering.
Huh? Yeah, I am an old man, but I remember the important stuff. Wife is excited based on my discovery yesterday that satisfies one of my clues perfectly and encourages me even more. My wife will not let me divulge what I discovered, however, and I don't blame her, Jack. Of course, I know you don't want to know about it anyway. Weather has been great. More later. Jack Selvage, a.k.a. High Plains Drifter, and he sent me a photograph of, you can't see it here, but he sent me a photograph of the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad train in front of Osher Station, which, of course, we're very familiar with. So that was very nice of him. And then I also got a message from Copper Dan, and let me see, I've got to make sure... I've got to make sure there's a part of it that he doesn't want to. It says, Toby, it was a pleasure to meet you yesterday. So he sent me this on the Friday after the event at the Collected Works. It was a pleasure to meet you yesterday. I'm sorry Shelley couldn't make it. Give her my best. So.
And don't call me Shirley.
And don't call me Shirley. Did I just call you Shirley?
Almost.
A new development with our art that was in the drawing. We have decided that those will be the only 2 pieces that will be released with those names in that size of 12 by 26, Searcher's Paradise and Marvel Gaze. If the owner chooses to sell them, they might want to know that they're effectively turning those into a limited edition. And honestly, I took this photograph. I actually took it with a photograph with Dan and my son Jason, both of whom are metal workers. This photograph doesn't do his work justice. If you were to take one of his pieces, they're shaped, they're convex shaped. And if you were to put them up on a wall, they make an absolutely beautiful piece of art. Just stunning. You can't take your eyes off of it. That's how stunning it is. I also put his website down at the bottom and a link to his website in the description box below. So that was from Dan. He wants me to tell Jason that he loved his cuff bracelet, that Navajo cuff bracelet he wears, and ask him if the artist would make one for me. Remind me to do that the next time I tell Jason. Okay. And then I got a message from the folks at No Paddle Creek Company. They just released their 4th version of Chasing Words of Forrest Fenn. They say, hi, Toby, we have released an updated version of Chasing Words, chronological order and by topic. And then they sent me the link. I have put that link. I actually put this link, which is their Shopify store. If you bought version 3, you're entitled to free version 4. If you haven't purchased version 3, you have to purchase version 4 outright, but they have it broken up. You can either buy the chronological order, the topical order, or buy them both, and then they give you a couple of extra PDF files. And they're downloadable PDF files, so they're very convenient. So they've gone through a lot of trouble of updating this. I did a lot of searching, and there's a lot of, all the good stuff is in there. All the good stuff. You don't have to underline it. You don't have to go searching for it. So between what No Paddle Creek Company offers and what you get from Terry Scant, you should have a couple of very good resources to be able to determine accurately what Fenn has said in the past, unlike me, who just wings it.
Okay.
So wait, I just got a message from Cindy Guess. So let me get that because it's interesting.
Okay.
So let me read that real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I got to find it.
While Toby's looking for that, we're going to let you know that we have a fancy new wine today. Did you find it? All right. Do you want
I did find it. I'll do this first.
Okay.
So the wine that we're drinking is that Iowa. You remember 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago we had that mead from
Right.
the Ackerman Winery, and these 2 bottles of wine were sent to us by John Tack, and they were good in the sense that we had never tried either a mead or, in this case, the Iowa Dandelion Blossom. And as I said, the labels themselves are very collectible if you're into collecting wine labels. And so we thought we'd try that today. And Steve Gahagan visited. He was at the Collected Works bookstore for the event last Thursday, and he brought with him this bottle of Max Creek Buzzard's Roost Blush, and he brought that for us. So we're going to try that next week, Steve. But again, thank you both, John and Steve, for being so thoughtful and bringing to us these unique and different wines that have a kind of regional kind of to
We
them.
like that. They're local wines.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Laura James, if you would like to send us some of the wine from Salida, although we have had it before, we really enjoy it. So,
What was it? What was the name of the wine store?
I don't remember now.
The cherry wine that you got
Angel
was really good.
something.
Yeah.
I don't
It was
remember.
on the edge of town. It was
Yeah.
up from our hotel on the main street in Salida.
There's also a distillery in Salida, so
Oh.
if you want to send us that whiskey
Oh,
instead,
there's a hard
it's
liquor?
okay too.
Interesting.
Yeah,
There's
they
got to
make
be
an
something.
elderberry liqueur and they make whiskey there in Salida.
There's got to be something illegal about that, don't you think?
Why?
Sending liquor through the USPS. I don't know. I'm just guessing. What are we toasting?
Anyway, 3,300.
You are.
Cheers.
Oh, another sweet one. This is definitely a dessert wine, an after-dinner wine.
Picnic wine.
Pardon me?
Picnic wine.
Yeah, picnic wine. Picnic with fruit, bread, cheese, those kinds of things. Very sweet. Serve it chilled. It's got some nice legs to it, but very thick and rich. I love these wines I couldn't drink them all the time. Certainly not the kind of wine you'd have with a big, 1-inch thick ribeye. But
But you slurped
Picnic.
it down anyway, didn't
yeah,
you?
I did. Picnic wine, sweet wine, just really good.
Different, very different.
I'm hearing an echo in my headphones. I wonder if those guys are hearing an echo. Oh, Copper's in there. Okay, Copper, yeah, feel free to promote whatever you're doing with your website. Jimmy Fast put thank you, Jimmy Fast. By the way, that 1-800 number, as I said, not only will we have call-ins later, but you can also send a text message. Couple of rules. If I can't see your number, meaning if it's restricted or blocked, I'm not going to answer the call or read the message. And the first question I'm going to ask you if you call is, what's your name? We're not going to talk about your phone number. What's your name and from whence are you calling? And then the same
What
with
state are you
what-
living in? Or country if you're like
Yeah,
from
if you're calling long distance, real long distance.
Algiers or something.
And secondly, as I said, last night I was talking to technical support as I was working out the gremlins. Thankfully, GoDaddy.com has 24-hour technical support. And they said we could accept text messages. So,
Did you get one from Cindy?
no, I need to read that. That was an email. So, based on, so I don't know if you guys recall, but a week before last, Cindy Guess, one of our subscribers and one of our viewers, and we've done It's All About You with her, sent an email to Forrest asking if he had any words to cover the chapter that we were covering that day, and I don't remember what it was. Father on the Bonco. And Forrest wrote back, and we read those words. Well, that gave me an idea, and I thought, well, let me write Forrest and see if he's interested in doing all of this. And as usual, Forrest doesn't respond to my emails. So Cindy writes, and I hope you don't mind if I'm reading this from Cindy. Cindy writes, hello, I tried to get some words from Forrest for Flywater, but he wouldn't respond. I tried 3 different times this week. I asked if he had his father's fishing hat full of lures, and he answered yes, but he would not respond to any Flywater emails. However, I did send him the link to watch the book club show. Maybe next time. I don't know. I think we'll have to wait another year for Forrest and I, the next event, because that seems to be the only time when we actually communicate with one another. But I respect him, so it's his choice. We can't have everything in life that we want, right?
That's right. You can't always get what you want. Just like Mick Jagger says.
We trust Mick Jagger. I'm going to have some more of this wine.
Oh, be careful. So today we're talking about, in the Forrest Fenn Book Club, The Thrill of the Chase, Chapter 22, Flywater, which is on pages 120 through 125. That includes a center spread, 2-page of the family members fishing, having caught fish, and as you see from this picture here, Forrest is, the caption below it says that Forrest is 12 years old and he has caught all these fish, and whatever they didn't use they would trade for other food like potatoes and other things that they needed.
You know what? Could you entertain for just a moment? I forgot to open your chat window. I need to go back soon.
Okay.
Talk to the folks.
And that was during the war when he said his father was only making $4,000 a year, so they would supplement their income with doing things like that, where they would catch fish and trade them for other things that they needed. And I'm sure at that time during the war, when things were scarce, that there was a lot of bartering going on, trading, and that's how people were going to get by. Is I have a bunch of fish, you have a bunch of apples. Let's do some trading, and everybody got fed that way. So it was a time in America's history where we all came together to support one another, to get through the hard times, and I think that's something of the American spirit that we can celebrate, and we can celebrate it within our own community as well.
That's a really nice thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you some fish this weekend.
Okay.
Make sure you have some s'mores stuff.
Oh, you have s'mores stuff. I brought you peanuts, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Great.
Fair trade.
Fair trade. Yeah. I don't know whether you guys know, but Shelley's husband works for Southwest Airlines, and occasionally they've just stopped distributing peanuts. It's more trouble apparently than it's worth. So he has a case of peanuts, and every once in a while I get a bag full to keep me going for the week. So those are my late night snacks. All right, so this happens to be probably, I would say without a doubt, my favorite chapter in the entire book. It is so fully written. It is revealing. It has a lot of contextual elements regarding Fenn and his personality and his modus operandi. And I've always thought of that as the chapter that I felt most connected to Fenn. And I think part of understanding why and how he hid this treasure is feeling connected to him. Because I think if you can feel connected to him, although I don't ever get email responses, but if you can...
Just channeling your mother again.
Okay. If I can feel connected to him, when I get to within 200 feet of the treasure, I can feel connected to the treasure. So one of the things that you'll discover in your research is that there are 2 editions of Flywater. This one, you know what, I'm going to go to full screen so people can see it. We don't need the slide. So there's this one, which was published in around 2010, if I remember correctly. So let's see if I can do this quickly. I won't spend a lot of time. That has a different preface, different authors. Yeah, this one was printed in 2010. And when Fenn tells the story, he describes it as having taken it off the shelf and gone through it, and it looks like it had been written in a time prior to that. So different author. This one actually, I purchased this at, I purchased all my used books at abebooks.com, A-B-E Books. This one happens to have a dedication on it. And it reads for Topher and Annabelle, whom I remember fondly, and it is signed Grant McClintock, who is the second author. The original author, I think it was Mike Crockett, don't want to say that. Mike Crockett was the one that wrote the original book, and he wrote it as a result of the fact that he was experiencing a bout with cancer. And he decided rather than just, die in a bed that he was going to do something. And he went out and he started fly fishing the streams of the West. And as a result, got this book. This was the one that was published in 1994. And it is the one that Fenn likely very much refers to in this particular chapter. You can see there, between 1994, the 16 years between 94 and 2010, it grew a little bit in size, had more color plates, had more writing. The original has a preface written by, or a foreword written by Jack Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway's son. So it has a lot of historical significance. It is in the fly fishing community considered one of the must-own books if you're a avid fly fisherman, if you're a committed, passionate, and avid fly fisherman. This is one of the books that you will very much likely own. So, and as I said, if you're interested, you can find copies of it at reasonable prices. The prices have gone up over the years as it was connected to the Fenn Treasure, but you can find it at apebooks.com. Just do a search. You can find anything. You can find the Eric Sloan books there. You can find most of Fenn's books there, et cetera, et cetera. The Fenn's books, of course, the price has gone up on them. Okay, I think that's it for intros.
Okay.
You ready to rock and roll?
Now
here?
let's slide into the second portion of our show
And the reason
talk
everybody's here.
about the chapter in The Thrill of the Chase.
All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Thrill of the Chase by Forrest Fenn, his first memoir, Chapter 22, Flywater, on pages 120 to 125. Page 121, paragraph 1. When my parents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary at my sister's house in Bozeman, open parentheses, Montana, close parentheses, I thought they were really old, and I think that's funny because my wife and I have been married 57 years, and she still looks good and thinks young. We've had a pretty good life together because she's so tolerant, and everyone knows it. She's always said that she'd rather switch than fight, and I think she's done a lot of switching. But every time we've come to a fork in the road, we've taken it together, if you know what I mean. We always used to take separate vacations, so she could go visit her mother and talk about me, and I could go visit my father and talk about our favorite fishing holes.
Little narcissistic there. Mm. And then she would talk about me, and I would just talk about fishing. How do you know she talked about you? You weren't there. You just guessed. All right. This gives us a lot of insight into Forrest's marriage to Peggy and his feelings for her.
I'm going to move you. Go ahead. Ignore me. I'm going to move your microphone just a little bit closer. Go. All right. Thank you.
The phrase, us Tarrytown, I guess it's Tarrytown smokers. I'm not a smoker, so. Us Tarrytown smokers would rather fight than switch is the enduring slogan that appeared in magazine, newspaper, and television advertisements for Tarrytown cigarettes from 1963 until 1981. It was also used by Barry Goldwater during his 1964 campaign and by Thomas T.N.T. Todd, a civil rights activist, who parodied the slogan to make a point regarding the Vietnam War in a 1967 speech. Todd was quoted as saying, "Yet our best trained, best educated, best equipped, best prepared troops refuse to fight. Matter of fact, it's safe to say that they would rather switch than fight." What Peggy is saying is she would rather switch than fight, meaning she would go along with Forrest and what he wanted rather than fight about it. When he says they went on separate vacations, he lists that they each visited with a parent as a vacation, perhaps from their spouse rather than their job.
Page
Have
one.
you gone on separate vacations? You guys used to do that.
Yeah, well, that's because the girls always wanted to go to the beach, and I
Yeah.
was not a beach person. Beaches only find ways to get sand in all your personal places, and they ruin cameras. Beaches ruin cameras. You leave beaches and they're just grinding with the sand inside. But yeah, they wanted to go to the beach. I wanted to go to the mountains, so they would go to the beach on their own, and then they'd go to the mountains with me after. So they always had two vacations. So, but that was kind of the agreement.
That's why they're always traveling everywhere.
Oh, no,
Every time you look at Facebook, your
Yeah.
kids are off somewhere,
Yeah,
Portugal
we spent summers
Spain.
pretty much traveling. Yeah, they were very
all over the place.
yeah, very open to they like traveling. Page 121, paragraph 2. June, July, and August in the Yellowstone seemed to pass so fast when I was a kid that I often wondered if maybe summer somehow missed the turn there. When the days started to yellow with falling leaves and the mallards began flying south again, I always knew tough times for me were just ahead. Visions of classrooms would loom larger and larger, cutting into the best times of my life. Over the years, so many bits and pieces had to be left behind, and a few mind-expanding experiences were to remain unknown. But as I got older, I realized there were many moments to remember, like the time I sat under the tree of on the Madison River and watched the osprey dive for fish as I wrote a note for my wife, who always allowed me the luxury of doing the things I thought were important.
All right. So Forrest tells us that he lived for summers because he could be free from classrooms when he was a youth. There was never enough time to explore as much as he wished. He explains that's why he returned alone as an adult to catch up on those things he missed doing when he was young. And again, vacationing without Peggy, just because she was tolerant and she allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do. And so why not go fishing all the time?
Page 124, paragraph 3. Today, as my thoughts drifted by I read that completely wrong. Today, as my thoughts drifted by en route to new ideas to be tried and new experiences to be had, I pulled a long-forgotten book from the shelf. It's called Flywater and is about the great fishing spots in the western part of the country. Several of the wonderful color plates are of places where I fished as a kid under the tutelage of my father, or where I guided others to pay when I was just a young teen.
So this explains why the book is special to Fenn and tells the reader where to look for scenes from his early life.
And indeed there are. What interested me about that paragraph was his comment that as my thoughts drifted by en route to new ideas to be tried and new experiences to be had, and one wonders if it was that point, that evening, that he thought to himself, I need to write a book about this treasure that I'm going to hide, and all in the context of this, the Flywater.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Page 125, paragraph 1. Those great places, which were personal secrets to me then, are now busy with a flourish of fishermen and women who cast a midge or floating caddis upon those same waters, never knowing I had been there, or even caring, yes or no. I hope they feel the reverence that I once did and now still do. How special those hours were. Many others who have loved those waters before and after me understand that catching fish is not what it's about. It's the being there in the tranquility and silence of one's self. And when my tackle box is closed at last and the caddis hatch is gone, I will rest through all of time and space, pillowed down and scented in, with a smile that comes from remembering the special things that brought me to that final place, one of which was knowing Peggy was there, somewhere, waiting for me.
Apparently she had to wait for him a lot.
Mm.
Not only while he was at war, but pretty much her whole life. So Forrest uses the words special, time, and space or place frequently in this part of the chapter to describe his thoughts about fishing on his own while Peggy waits for him. He seems to equate time spent fishing to the tranquility and peace of being laid to rest in death or to heaven itself.
Questions to ponder. Does this chapter point definitively to the Madison River as Fenn's treasured and special place? Or could it refer to any fishing spot he might have visited during his lifetime? When Forrest talks about new ideas to be tried and new experiences to be had. Oh, you picked up on that, huh? Is he telling us that although this story points to the Madison, we should look to new places instead? How does time and space figure into the resolution of the clues in the poem? Wow, look at you. That was written independently of our presentation, huh? I'm picking myself up on that.
Which presentation?
Of the presentation, the Time is an Illusion presentation of last week.
Oh, no. I mean, I did this like yesterday. So, no, I wasn't independent completely. That's why I had the book open, and when you were telling me just to talk, I would just read from that chapter.
Okay, so I have a little bit of bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
By the time I opened this, by the time I opened this, when I opened it, it had cut off the first little bit of it.
Okay.
So you're going to have to do your greetings from over here. Is that okay? I mean, I'll give you the...
Are we switching places?
No, I'll just hand it over to you. I only need it for the analytics.
Okay. So, at this point in time, are you going to do the super chat thingy?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'll let you do that. And I will put this where I can see it.
Yeah, do whatever you need to with that. Okay, Sue, we're about to go into chat, ladies and gentlemen, and I wanted to make you aware that at the bottom of the chat window is a stylized $sign. If you click on that $sign, you'll be able to contribute to our project with a super chat donation. YouTube takes a percentage of it, but we get the rest, and we use it to buy all this equipment that generates a myriad of visits from the gremlins. And then I have to beat them back to within an inch of their life. So
bad gremlins. We hit them with the wine bottle.
We hit them with the wine bottles. So. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to transition to open screen, and you can go about that. Oh, okay. So let me do
here's
this.
The big screen.
Here's the big screen.
And it has our 1-800 phone number on it.
And you'll see between Toby Eunice and Shelley Carney, there's the 1-800 number. I'm about to open that up. If you want to call in and ask a question, we'd be happy to receive your call. Or if you'd like to send us a text,
especially for those millennials who don't like to call.
All you new millennials who have joined the chase since the BuzzFeed video, send us a text. Make sure you include your name and the state in which you reside.
There you go.
So we already have a couple of voicemails. So let me see if I can play the voicemails.
Okay. And while Toby's working on that, I'm going to say hello to the people in our chat room. We have Jeremy Branson, Steve Rempel, Cindy Guess, David Dow, David Garlick, Mark Carl is here, Rick Plank from Cincinnati, Eric Schmidt, Tammy Mattis, Dave Erickson, Brent from Austin, Texas, Holly Purd, Britt Chaser. That's an interesting new name.
Britt Chaser, that's Jono's new name.
Oh.
Because I can only tell you a certain amount. He put up a new YouTube video.
Oh, he's got his own YouTube channel?
Yeah, he started his own YouTube channel.
I see.
I guess I can't. Do you think I should say this?
I don't know what you're going to say, so I want to know if you should.
So as you guys know, we try to keep the It's All About You interviews secret until they actually appear on the first. But since Jono's in the room and he mentioned his new YouTube channel, Jono is my interview for It's All About You interview for tomorrow. And he has a new video out talking about his family's visit to the U.S. He came from the U.K. to the U.S. I think they were here for 5 weeks. You'll see more of it tomorrow in the interview as it is released tomorrow. It was a good interview. He had a great time. We talked about a lot of things. He's an IT professional, so it was easy to put he put the technology together really quick. So that video will launch tomorrow at 1 p.m. So you can see it then. But in the meantime, if you go to
Britt Chaser
on YouTube, he's got a new video up there that is mentioned in tomorrow's video. And I know, like I said, I don't normally do that, but since he's in the room, I thought I would.
All right. We also have JL, Bismarck in the house. Fenn Treasure Hunters are here. Jimmy Fast, Gary Sandberg from Seattle, Journeyman from Missouri. Mark Connor is here. Slednack, let's talk fishing. Lori James is here. Hooray, from Salida. K-Pro Chris Thor is here. Hello. Journeyman says hello. Let's see. Do we have any other new names? Jeep Girl Jody is here from Colorado. Good afternoon, book club. Lots of people here, says Mark Carl. And so, did you have a
Voicemail.
voicemail?
Apparently, they were just trying to call in. They didn't leave a voicemail.
Oh, okay.
So whoever was trying to call in, the call line is now open, so you can do that. Remember, of course, if you want to send a text message, you can do that as well to the same 1-800 number. Just make sure you include your name and the state in which you reside in the text message. I will find a dozen different ways to say that today.
Okay. Sean Martinez is here from Clovis. Sean was one of our panel members last night.
Although a gremlin-infested, really fun panel. I love talking to both Michael and Sean. They always have such different ideas on the search. I learn every time. Somebody posted a comment that said it's like a student listening to a teacher. I always learn when I sit there and have a conversation with those two.
David Dow says, keep the magwai away from the water. Gremlins are bad.
Yes.
Magwai.
Mogwai.
That's what turns into gremlins, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Naden is here from England as well. Steve Smitherman. Copper Dan is here.
Okay, here we go. Same person. Let's try and see. Let's try it. This is Toby Eunice with AGK. You are on the AGK hotline. What's your name and from whence are you calling?
Heather Dawn from Wyoming. Heather Dawn Angela Hedrick Brown with an E.
Oh, Heather Dawn.
Heather
How
Dawn.
are you doing? So let me check. Can you see if every... Well, I'm glad that was the other thing I wanted. Let me just interrupt for 1 second. I wanted to remind everybody that when you do call, make sure you turn the audio down on your computer so that we won't get that feedback. Hi, Heather Dawn. What's your question?
I'm calling from the iPhone, but I wanted to say that today at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 years ago, I saw my mom dead.
That what? 7 o'clock in the morning what?
I found my mom dead 8 years ago.
Oh. Well, but did you...
But I want to have something happy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have...
I want to ask Mr. Major
Go ahead.
if he constructed the poem for ABP, Alaska Bush People. And that's the hillbilly with the 6 kids who wanted to find it.
Okay. Well, I don't know
And
if...
that's the ground.
So I'm going to strongly recommend, that's a very interesting question, and I'm going to suggest to you that Forrest would love hearing that, and you can write him at forrestfenn@gmail.com. And he does read his
And I have
emails.
one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is actually, can I ask something from the Alaska Bush People if they're listening?
You can ask the chat room, and they can answer in the chat room, and then we can hang up and you can go back to the chat room. Go ahead and ask the chat room a question.
Well, I would ask that Alaska Bush People would hire me on it as an employee. And I am a beauty school dropout, and I learned everything I needed to learn. The rest of my time was just spent, doing haircuts and stuff. And I have my own. I have $700 that comes in at SSI, and I would like to build my own cabin, and I can get my own food.
Okay.
If they'll hire me, I'll send them a resume.
All right, so let's hang up now and give somebody else a chance to call. And the chat room, you can respond to Heather if you have any ideas about providing her employment, okay? Heather Dawn, thank you for calling the AGK hotline.
Love you.
Okay, so Lori James was asking Mountain Spirit or Vino Salida. I was thinking Mountain Spirit. That's the one we've had before. I don't think we had Vino Salida yet. I think they carry several wines in their shop, though. So.
That are all regional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Woods Distillery is where they make the whiskey that I was telling you about.
Okay, hotline is still open, waiting for a call or a text message from you so we can read your text message. In the meantime, do you want to finish your greetings?
Well, yeah, I have a question from Michael Ringler. Have you two had any Northern Michigan wine sent to you yet? we're at the same latitude as France. So no, I don't think we have we?
So I think Michael is suggesting that the grapes in Michigan, being at the same latitude in France, would have a lot of the same characteristics as the French wines, or the wines produced from the French vineyards. We have not had a bottle of wine from Michigan, but if you'll look in the description box below, you'll see our address. And if you'd like to send us a bottle of wine from one of your regional vintners or wineries, we'd be happy to try it out and mention it on the show. So we look forward to that. We love doing that. So we're open to all kinds of wines. I'm partial to after dinner sweet or picnic wine, what we call picnic wines, but we'll try almost anything. I also like the heavy-bodied reds that go with the, steak and potatoes kind of meal. So.
We have a question from Minotaur Moreno.
Hey, Minotaur, well done on last night's Flipside show. That was a very good show.
Yeah, and he says, and I wondered this as well, so pillowed down and scented in. What do you think that means exactly? To me, it conjures up when you go to a visitation or viewing of somebody in a coffin. They are usually pillowed down because they have the little pillow under their head, and they are usually scented because you don't want to... smell the chemicals that's actually chemicals.
That's actually a perfect description of it. It's an archaic use of describing somebody's passing. So back in the olden days, if you wanted to refer to someone passing, you would say, "We're going to visit them as they are pillowed down and scented." What?
Scented in.
Yeah, scented in. It's a reference to the visitation after someone has passed.
Esquire says, men need their alone time for the same reason women get emotional without a reason. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you too much here, but women get emotional for reasons. Yeah. If you had any idea what kind of hormonal fluctuations we go through every month, you would be astounded. And then you would say, okay, it's not for no reason at all, is it? And so...
hold on, caller.
We have a caller, and let's go to that.
All right, it's a caller from Miami, so you don't have to tell us where you're from, but tell us your name and what question you have for us. Hello, caller from Miami. Oops, they hung up.
Oh.
Got scared.
All right. But yes, men do need their alone time, and women need their time alone or with other women as well.
That's a decision I made back in 2004, and was that what alone time gives you, and your kids having grown up out of college and on their own, is a lot of freedom and independence, and I really like that whole freedom and independence thing. Okay, so the line is open again. Our friend from Miami didn't answer, so...
And Minotaur Moreno says, why is she waiting for him when he dies? I don't know that she would die before him. I mean, women usually hang on a little bit longer than their husbands, but that could be the case. Or it could just be that she's always been waiting for him to come back from wherever he's gone. So that is just referring to that.
When I read it, the first time I read it with his expectation that when he wrote it, she would precede him in death, and that she would be there wherever there is. Whenever he arrived. But it's a good question, Minotaur, because I think it makes that assumption. But it also refers to what he had said earlier. She's always waiting for him. He not requires, but he's put her in situations where she's had to wait for him before, and she does so apparently very patiently.
Steve Gahagan says, good analysis. Last 2 chapters have pulled the onion back.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. That's very kind of you to say.
And Sean Martinez says, as a fisherman, I would suggest it would be any fishing spot. When I asked, is he talking specifically about the Madison, or could it be any fishing spot? He says, as a fisherman, I would suggest it would be any fishing spot. The day he hid the chest, it's reasonable to believe Peggy thought he just went fishing. And he very well may have. Yeah,
my personal opinion, our opinion on the matter is that when it comes to the treasure chest, we feel it's very likely that it is hidden in a place that was special to him for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it was a good fishing spot. And that opens it up because a lot of his fishing after 1972 was done in New Mexico. That doesn't exclude the fishing that he did in Yellowstone and probably dozens, if not hundreds, of other rivers in the Southwest or along the Rocky Mountains. But we think that the reference is to the place being special, not only because of the ambiance, the environmental ambiance, but because it's a fishing spot.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see how the treasure could be hidden in a place that didn't have nearby great fishing, especially for a fly fisherman.
And Cindy Guest shares this quote with us from I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Seeger. Pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse nigh to pulse and breath to breath. So it's kind of giving you the visual of a couple together.
Common passing.
Yeah, and dying.
Very nice, Cindy.
So Steve Smitherman wants to know, is Forrest's wife Peggy doing okay? Did she come to the drawing at the bookstore?
She did not. We have not seen her at the last two events. The time we visited her, she had care. She had visiting care, and she was walking with the aid of a walker. But we haven't heard much. She was not at the event on Thursday, last week. Actually, the only family members I saw that day were Mika and Shiloh, right? Did you see? No other family members.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Sorry, this bounced up.
Oops.
Oh, here we go. Toby, if you say it in a radio voice, we will all remember it. From K-Pro. And Jimmy Fast has also posted Forrest's email address, if you did not have that yet. Rick Plank says he's got to go. He enjoyed the show.
From Cincinnati.
He's going to go tailgating for the game tonight.
Oh, Cincinnati Bengals, apparently.
Who day?
Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't know. Maybe it's a high school. It's a Thursday night, so.
Thursday night football.
Oh.
There is a Thursday night. There is an NFL Thursday night football.
Okay, then perhaps.
But I don't follow it. So.
Well, are we still in preseason or are we in regular season now?
No. I think we're in regular season. Okay. Again, I don't follow it, so I don't know for sure.
Okay. Well, we have a couple more people I haven't seen in a while. Welder for Hire AJ and Christian the Great.
Christian the Great.
Yeah. Saffron is here. Jason Hilgerson. So there's no screening of the calls. No.
Well, there is screening in the sense that we do not answer restricted or blocked call numbers, and of course there is a delay between the time that I'm speaking to you and the time that it actually makes it onto the air, because there's a 60-second delay between what we're doing right now and what you'll see in 60 seconds, or what we did 60 seconds ago by the time you see this. So I'll have a short time to change it if I have to. I haven't had to so far, and I don't expect to.
John Tack says, howdy, howdy from Hiawatha, Iowa. Another good show, AGK. Once the gremlins have been banished, the 800 number will be a nice advancement for your shows. And thank you to John Tack for a wine today. Oh. Cheers to you.
Yeah, John, I think the only thing that we have left to resolve is how it all works when we get a panel. It's relatively easy when it's just Shelley and I, because we're working from the same switcher. When we have a panel, of course, they're coming in through the Zoom.us interface into our OBS application. So there's another literally couple of layers of technology that have to be accommodated in both an analog way from this, well, it's a digital switcher, but the process is analog. And the fact that we have to deal with Zoom. And I realized after viewing some videos last night, there is a feature on the particular switcher that I own that when it's reviewed, it's actually, they actually pick this particular feature and they say, well, that's a stupid mistake. I don't know why they did that. I mean, they criticize the switcher. And so I realized I have to upgrade my switcher in order to get rid of what apparently is an error in the switcher, in the design of the switcher, that would enable me to incorporate this into our Zoom, into our panel meetings. But I promise you, hell or high water, gremlins notwithstanding, I will have that fixed by next Wednesday.
Well, I believe you.
Thank you. I was trying to be sincere.
I know. So Michael Ringler says, Terry Scant with Marvel Gaze. I always believed that it meant to grab the chest quickly and get out of there, as there could be tourists gazing at a tourist attraction nearby.
Well, if you translate it literally, I mean, if you were to take take out the poetic license and translate it literally, as opposed to the colloquialism implied in the poem, it does mean, Terry Scant, don't stick around with your marvel gaze staring at the treasure. Get the heck out of there. That's how we've always interpreted it. And that's why we think it's one of the few elements in the poem that tends to be rather literal rather than colloquial or more of a riddle. I did like the thing, you know what I liked about what Sean Martinez last night said, or was it Michael?
I'm studying the chat, so
Okay,
if you
so-
can't remember, don't look at me.
Okay, never mind. It was the thing
You
about
have
the
to ask Sean. He's in the room.
crossword puzzle. I thought that was just really ingenious.
Yeah.
I'm out of wine.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So, guys, the call-in line is open, 1-800-897-1043.
Wait, 947.
1-800-947-1043. So call us in and
So we're going to say hi to Paul. He's here.
from the UK.
Paul? Yeah. R.F. Hecky says, the photo caption, father was making $4,000. Today that would be about $65,000. Not a poor kid in my book.
Well, yeah, but it's contextual, right? So what $65,000 today still won't buy you a big home. It will buy, if you were making $65,000
For the entire family, because the mom's not working.
Exactly, for the entire family, $65,000 is a large sum, but you're trying to run a family, so it would put you contextually into, I mean, what I mean by contextually is in the economics of that time, $65,000 today buys as much as $4,000 back then, and vice versa. So I don't know necessarily if that $65,000 necessary to raise a family would put you, you know, what I see them being is a middle class family, a middle class family, and $65,000 today would put you in the middle class basically. So I think economically speaking, in terms of dollar growth, it's probably about the same.
Okay. Oh, Bengals versus Ravens.
See, it is NFL.
Okay.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Cincinnati Bengals. I do know that much.
Sorry, I think I skipped up. Oh, Mark Connor wants to know, have you listened to the song One Tin Soldier? It fits the poem really well.
I haven't for a long time.
We'll have to
One
pull that
Tin
out and listen
Soldier.
to it.
Yeah, it's a 60s, 70s song, 60s or 70s. It's
Yeah.
a while back.
I
We haven't, Mark.
don't remember the words to it. Sean Martinez says, Flywater is indeed a very important chapter in the book as well as in the chase. This chapter and its references, in my opinion, should not be overlooked.
We agree, Sean Martinez. We think this is a critical chapter in terms of understanding Fenn and what he wrote into that poem.
Crossword idea was mine, says Jono.
Oh, okay.
You should do a show on it, he says.
Okay. I think we will, John. I thought it was a great idea. Everybody will get to see that conversation.
Well, then he'll have to be in on the show.
Yeah, agreed.
So it was his idea.
So, and as we've mentioned several times over the past week, we've got some new programming ideas that are going to be showing up over the next several weeks. And I can't tell you anything about them just yet, but we'll announce them as they go along over the next couple of weeks as we make those things. So this one is the first big one. So take advantage and call in. I'm really surprised that I'm having to beg.
I'm telling you,
guys.
people don't like to use the phone anymore.
Well, send a text. Ask a question. See if you get a text. You won't have to wait for it as Shelley goes down. It pops up right here. Send a text, name and what state you're located in, and I'll answer your question from your text message. Besides, nobody's done that yet. As a matter of fact, somebody sent a text just to the 1-800 number just to see if it works. I don't have any idea if it even works yet. So send me a text message.
RF Hecky says, the 2-page photo page. Interesting, there are 5 sepia and 2 black and white.
Yeah, that was my opinion is that it was a publishing error, that whatever they decided to do, two of the photos they felt didn't require the sepia treatment that actually is more in line with the design of the page. The sepia photos are all more in line with the design and the color backgrounds on the page. Oh, we got a call on Smartline. Somebody took me up on my...
Okay.
This is Toby Udis with an AGK. With the AGK, you're on the hotline. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Steve. I'm calling from Nebraska.
It's Steve from Nebraska. What's your question, Steve?
Toby, I was wondering who won the panel with you guys through the drawing. Can you reveal that?
Yes, I can. Actually, it was Jamie herself. She won the panel, and she and I have been talking, but we haven't gotten to the point where we're talking about whether she wants to do that or not. She has the option of donating anything that she won to anybody else. But we were informed, Mike Cowling informed me that it was Jamie, that because of the number of tickets that Forrest had purchased for her, she was actually the winner of the panel, and she has the option, whoever had won the panel had the option of when they come on, and they also have the option of choosing the panelists that they wanted to be on with them, and they have the option of choosing the topic. So we look forward to her taking advantage of that. We think it would be exciting to have her on. I spoke with her over the weekend after the event, and I told her that at a minimum, we'd like to have her back on the program in 6 months after things have settled down, so we can catch up on what's going on with her. And and she agreed to do that, of course. We have since found out, as was mentioned on Fenn Treasure Hunters chat last Tuesday, that she and Bill are actually planning to move to New Mexico, or in the process of moving to New Mexico. So she's not going to be far from us, we hope. I imagine if she seems like a mountain girl to me, so she may be further up in northern New Mexico. But that's, even if she chooses the Taos area, that's a couple of hours away from us. So we look forward to hearing from her. But yeah, she was the one that won the panel session. Thank you for asking, Steve. That was a great question.
No problem. Sounds like some good programming coming up.
Yeah, we do have some changes coming up that we think are going to expand the community's ability to participate in what we're doing, like these calls. So we're looking forward to announcing those over the next couple of weeks. So I think you guys will be excited to see what we're doing.
Good.
All right, sir.
Well, thanks for answering my question, Toby.
My pleasure.
Have a good day.
Thanks for the call. You have a good day.
Okay. We have a question from K-Pro, Chris Thor. Do you think you need to understand the mechanics of fly fishing to get to a correct solve?
That's a good question. No, I don't think you have to understand the mechanics of fly fishing. I think you do have to understand what it feels like to be standing next to a healthy trout water in an environment in which healthy trout waters exist. Because as we said in a couple of shows ago, that the special place to us is not the actual niche or nook or cranny or cave in which he hid the treasure and planned to die along with it. We believe that he's referring to the unique environment in that area, and trout waters, places where trout reside and can be caught if you so choose and have the skill, are always really beautiful and special environments. And I think that's what he's referring to. I don't think it's necessary. Not that I don't recommend. How do I say this? I recommend everyone try trout fishing once at least. If you do it with a dry fly, even better, because it's the most challenging. But just fishing, being in the water, being in those places where trout reside, is just in and of itself is a beautiful experience. As he kind of describes in this thing, it isn't about the trout fishing. It's about the being there and the solitude and the quietness and the engaging with nature in so many different ways. So I think that's what it refers to. I don't think that it's necessary to be to be an expert in fly fishing. So I did get some text messages.
All right.
So
from our millennial
let's
friends.
see, from Sean Martinez. Let's see what Sean says. He's trying it out, I guess. Ugh, I don't know how to get there now. Where do they go? They don't go there. Okay, so give me a second. I'm not sure exactly where all these text messages go.
Well, Mark Connors says that he thinks Terry Scant with Marvel gaze means take your time and look around. So that's kind of the opposite of what we had said it meant. Instead of getting out of there quick, you should take your time. And Fibonacci, who I haven't seen in a while, Fibonacci, what I find interesting is the foreword is written by Hemingway. Yes.
Jack Hemingway, right. Ernest Hemingway's son. So let me see if they're going to the inbox. I'm trying to figure out where these text messages. So it says I received a text message.
Now that we told you to send these text messages.
Okay. Nope, those are voicemail messages. Let's see if it tells me up here. Give me a second. Keep talking. Go ahead and keep going through your... while I'm doing this.
1061 Shot says, has anyone noticed that each chapter of The Thrill of the Chase, he mentions death? Did not notice that. We'll have to look at that.
I hadn't noticed it. We're going to have to go back and look at that.
Yeah. Brit Chaser says that photo with Forrest in his den on his website, surrounded by all his artifacts, with 2 framed photos photoshopped in. Did anyone find out from Fenn why they were photoshopped in? Do you know about that? I don't know about that. On his website.
Is that the one with the fashion paintings that we did an analysis? There's, if you're referring to the black and white image with the fashion paintings, in which one has the correct painting and another has one photoshopped in, and it includes Peggy in the photo. We did do a video on that. I don't know if we ever came to the conclusion of why it was done. We just talked about how it was done rather than why it was done. So, dang nabbit. Keep going.
Okay. I guess he says, also some photos in The Thrill of the Chase are doctored. Has he ever said why?
No, I don't ever recall him even acknowledging, not only not saying why, I don't know that he's ever acknowledged that there were photos in The Thrill of the Chase that were, as you call it, doctored. Okay, contact styler.
Mark Carl says that general aberration video discussion is still needed. Or have I missed it? General aberration. Oh, just discussing all the aberrations.
All the aberrations. We did way back when. We probably need to update that. We did a video way back when on what we referred to as the aberrations around the edge. You know, hints, clues, and aberrations around the edge. But it probably needs an update because it was done over a year ago. Is that Mark Carl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was done over a year ago, Mark Carl. We'll probably have to update it.
Eric Schmidt says, for a person so familiar with fly fishing, why would Fenn have misspelled caddis?
You know, I've more than once have asked him why he misspelled. I got a smart like, let me answer this to get it, and then I'll have him hold. Caller, hold just a minute while I answer this question. So a long time ago, when I first met Forrest, I had noticed the misspellings, the myriad of misspellings in the book. I think there were 2 reasons for that. Number one, he does misspell. Number 2, I don't think his editors were as good as they were in the case of Once Upon a While, where he actually hired Jessica Jenkins to do the editing for him. So I think he just let him by, and his answer to me was, I make them to see if anybody notices, which is what I would say if I had made a mistake, not realized it, but people had. So let me take this call. Caller, what's your name, where are you calling from, and what's your question?
Hi, Toby. This is Jason from Iowa.
Hey, Jason. How are you doing?
I am good.
Great.
My question is... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Wait, there's a slight delay between your talking and mine. So just make sure that you stop a little bit and I'll stop a little bit so that we're not talking over each other. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. So at the Moby Dickens interview, he had joked that he got better, and that ruined that plan of going to a secret place to lay to rest. Mm-hmm. And then he made a joke about it being found next year, next week, or next weekend. So do we really think that it's going to be the same place with the same plan since he said that it's different?
I can't paraphrase the answer. So let me see. So I remember him being asked a very similar question after that. And they asked him, is the place the same at which you were planning to die? It might even be in the Moby Dickens video. Is it still the same place? And I think he indicated then that the place was special enough that even if he couldn't return to it to die, it was still the place in which the treasure will reside. And it might have been even in the Moby Dickens video, but if it wasn't in the Moby Dickens video, it was in a commentary soon after that. But he implied that the place where he died, where he was planning to lay himself to rest, and the place where he hid the treasure was one and the same, and it had never changed.
Okay, so we're going to say that it's the same place then.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay, and then do you have time for one more, or is there another caller waiting?
No, there is no caller waiting. Well, there is a caller waiting, but they can call back. Go ahead. You can hear the beep, can't you?
Okay.
So go ahead, and they can call right back.
My question was, so I believe it's in that same interview, and he made the comment that being a business owner, it's a little bit different being a business owner, and he was referring to Dorothy Massey's comment that it made to him.
Mm-hmm.
Does that not imply that Dorothy Massey is not a business owner? So who would really own the bookstore?
So the bookstore is actually owned in a partnership of whom Dorothy is a half owner. She partners with Celeste, is it? Mm. They're partners in the ownership of the bookstore. I think what he was referring to at the time was the ownership of the book. The book is owned by his publishing company, and she didn't have an ownership participation in the publishing company, but he did, through contract, grant her a percentage of, granted her all the profits, excluding the percentage that goes to the cancer fund, all the profits made from that particular book, but she's not an owner in either the book or the publishing company. She is nonetheless half owner in Collected Works Bookstore.
Okay, yeah, if that was the question, is if she was part owner, or if she even owned bookstore. Then.
Yeah, she's half owner.
That's all I got, Toby.
Okay, well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, no worries. Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. Have a good day. So the caller that was probably went to voicemail, please feel free to call back, and I'll take your call. And again, we're at the stage where we haven't incorporated the technology so that we have
call waiting.
We can handle
or anything.
the equivalent of call waiting. So
yeah, or
we
put
apologize.
You on hold. We will never put you on hold because we can't.
So my only problem right now. Here we go. So they're calling back. So. Hey caller, this is Toby Guinness with Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name and from what state are you calling? And don't forget to turn the volume down on your computer so we don't get the feedback.
Good afternoon.
Hi there.
Jim from Wisconsin.
Hey Jim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. One question, I guess. What's your thoughts on, Ben always said all you need is the poem, the book, and a basic knowledge of geography. Very, very little talk on geography. I'm just looking for your opinion on that, I guess. Okay, and I will express our opinion. I think, in our opinion, when he refers to the poem and the book, that's obvious. When he refers to geography, the implication is that you need to understand how nature is configured in terms of landmass, right? And you need to understand that when you're looking at a map, and that map it shows you how the surface of the earth is configured, you need to be able to read that. People are always surprised that when they see a map, even if it has the contour lines on it, that when they arrive to the location that they thought was a perfectly reasonable location, and somebody just wrote about this or said about it in their blog, they arrived at the location and find themselves not looking at a gentle slope, but an actual rock
cliff face. So I think what he means by that is that as you're analyzing the book, analyzing the poem, and starting to take your first look at maps, whether they are surface maps, satellite maps, or contour maps, that you have to understand what those represent before you start making decisions to go put boots on the ground in what may look to you like a very gentle slope, but turns out to be a rock cliff face. And so understanding geography can be as broad as understanding the dimensions of the Rocky Mountains down to as narrow as what a relief map or a map with contour lines actually represents once you get boots on, what actually, how it represents the actual surface that you're going to expect to find.
I guess on the mapping end, I'd have to agree with what you say there, but I guess I always took it, he meant geography as far as not the land features, but the basic buildup of the land, what started it, terminology, earthquake areas, hot water areas, hot springs, those types of knowledges, what scarf is, what so on and so forth, what are different terminologies that way.
I think the only...
go ahead.
I think the only difference is that what you're describing to me, and I am not a master of any of these, but what you're describing to me sounds more like geology rather than geography. I agree with you that there is a geologic component to the poem because that's how you get the 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. But I think what you described to me is understanding geologic features as opposed to geographic features. And maybe there's some place in between the two that you have to have more knowledge of. But again, then we walk into when I bring these topics up, I get some criticism about it being specialized knowledge. But it sounds to me like you're describing geology rather than geography.
Well, in the dictionary, it's the field of science devoted to the study of the lands, features, inhabitants, phenomena of the earth. It's more than topographical maps. I couldn't describe it any better than that. Just look up the definition.
The definition in the dictionary. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. That's probably what I should do before I try to give you my opinion on the matter.
But it's very little talk in the background on the websites, any place. Very few people list geography as tied in any place with their solves.
Well, do me a favor. Send me, I think you at the beginning of all this, you cited a reference that Fenn had made. Send me to gypsyskiss@gmail.com and send me the link to that citation, and I'll take a look at it, see what he said, and then maybe it's worth us investigating it from the perspective of, does it belong in a show? I'm always curious about the things that he says, and even more curious when a distinction can be made like the one that you're making on this call. So maybe there's something there, and maybe it is worth pursuing in terms of investigation, and we'll see if we come up with anything, if you'll just do me the favor of sending me the email with the citation. How's that?
gypsykiss.com.
Not a Tipsy's Kiss. A Tipsy's Kiss is what we do on Thursdays. We're a Gypsy's Kiss. A Gypsy's Kiss @gmail.com.
Yes.
At Gmail. Okay.
And I'm sure if you go back to the chat room, one of our moderators has probably typed it already into the comments box. It's a Gypsy's Kiss.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I just didn't catch what you were saying.
Yeah.
I can send you an email. And the reference to it's a very common reference. It's been out there for almost since the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll be happy. We will be very happy to take a look at it.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you for your call. Have a good day.
So Mark Carl says, yes, please plan a new aberration video, and we can all give one that we found, maybe. So yeah, that would be awesome if you could. Everybody could share what they think is an aberration in the book that helps to solve the clues in the poem. And Jimmy Fast has put the Gmail address on there for everybody in the chat.
Okay, so I just got one of the text messages. I'm starting to figure this out. So It's a text message, and it says, Toby and Shelley, does F have a short fuse?
Forrest?
I don't know. We've only known him since
We're
2000.
not the type to test people in that way.
Yeah, exactly. I would be, so.
I don't think so.
I would say that in order to achieve the success that he has in his various endeavors, he is a man of little patience. And I remember in the 2006 interview that Davio had posted, the 2006 Cody Historical Society video, he talks about working with the people in his gallery and how he was frustrated that they would add paper clips to file folders and leave pens uncapped on their desk or typewriters still running. So, and that would I don't know necessarily that he used the word anger him, but it certainly frustrated him. And that to me, that description to me describes a person that probably has a short fuse. The question about people with short fuses is what precisely is on the other end of the fuse. And it could be, as I look at it, because this is how I know people who have short fuses, but some of them, the short fuse is to a little tiny firecracker, so it's not a big explosion. And to other people, the short fuse is attached to a stick of TNT. And so it really depends what's on the other end of the fuse. He strikes me as a short fuse firecracker kind of guy, that it isn't a big blow up, that it's a small blow up, as in, get the damn cap put back on that pen, you old.
Well, then again, he's a middle child. A lot of times, middle children just internalize.
Yeah.
They just keep it to themselves, but they are mad, and then they'll take it out some other way,
right.
Like, maybe in your next employee review, you don't get such good grades or something. That's, I think, a middle child kind of does that, but that's my guess, because I haven't seen him mad.
Okay, so thank you all for sending me text messages. I should have known better because I have no idea where they're going. I can get it. It seems like I can get them at the moment they send them. But so another call to GoDaddy support this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So okay, I do get the text messages. I just haven't figured out how to read them unless I do it right away. Unless I open it. That's what happened to the last one. Wait. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, they do it by the phone. Okay, so text message from Sean Martinez of Clovis, New Mexico. Sean says, it's reasonable to believe Fenn wore his waders the day he hid the chest. What are your thoughts? It's reasonable to believe that he... Oh, wow, this is a good question, Sean. It's reasonable to believe that Fenn wore his waders the day he hid the chest. What are your thoughts on this? So I have mixed feelings on it because, as many of you who do fish know, hiking in waders is not fun. And the reason is waders are not designed to be hiking boots. So in our model, if he's hiking, say, a half mile, and he has to make that trip 4 times, any way you look at it, if you try to do that in waders, just because at some point you have to get across the river, you are going to have a problem. On the other hand, and the problem is going to be, you're not going to be able to hike very far. Those waders are just not designed for that. But what we have discovered in the area that we're looking is that if you wait till August, when the river, and you saw in our last recon, the photos we came back from the recon, rocks that would be covered in June by the water are completely uncovered by August. And that's pretty much true for every year because that's how they manage water in the Southwest. So I don't think you need your waders. I don't think you need your waders. I think you need a good pair of hiking boots, and I think you need to wait till August so that you can cross the river by just bounding across the rocks, as both Chris D'Angelo and Shelley's husband Kevin did the last time we were out there. Second question on text from Sean Martinez. It's reasonable to believe Fenn... Oh, no, it's the same question, sorry. Same questions.
Arrow.
Pardon?
Little arrow to go back.
Okay.
And then just taps her name, I guess. for their number.
So that's if they made a call. So I can't find saying this is from
Oh, yeah.
what we did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but it is keeping track of everything that's come in. Well, good. Oh, there is something from Heather Dawn. Toby and Shelley does have, that was, Heather wanted to know if he had a short fuse. So
K-Pro said she sent you a text.
I saw it when it came in, but it's not listed here. Oh, I wonder, hang on.
Here you go. I added it to an old call, so
Right.
it was already in the list.
Okay, so that's what I have to do.
So you have to go down.
Okay,
scroll
AGK,
down.
does knowing the mechanics of flywater fishing help? Oh, okay, so it's the same question. Thank you for your question, Christy, now that I've got this figured out. Okay, so David Dow from Alameda, California, came in at 1:57 p.m. Who says the clues need to last 1,000 years? One opinion is that the chest is not found soon. It may take 1,000 years as some of the clues may disappear. I think it's Fenn that has said, he didn't say, he's never said that the clues need to last 1,000 years. But he has said, he's cautioned that over a 1,000-year period, things are going to change. And we've had this conversation before. As a matter of fact, watch our show on Tuesday, because we're going to discuss exactly this topic in the context of a treasure that was hidden 2 millennia ago by the Legio Nona Hispania, the 9th Roman Legion, in the 1st century BCE. We're going to talk about that. And I think it's going to help us to understand, and as I said last night, the title of next Tuesday's program is How to Find Forrest Fenn's Treasure in 1,000 Years. Okay. Any more questions from the room?
Well, Mark Connor is saying about what you said about the rocks being uncovered in August. He says, only if you were in New Mexico. It wasn't like that in the northern states this year. Most rivers are still high for the year.
Right. But the one thing that we know about the climate is that changes from year to year. So although, and the implication is not that it is in New Mexico, but that what we know about the climate is that there is no consistency to it. So in one year you could have high water because of a big snow melt, and it would last throughout the year. Or in one year you may not have that. So, and I think you have to accommodate that. In our opinion, 2010 was a low water year in most of the Rockies. So we think it could have happened. You just have to wait for that right year. And that's why God gave us gauging stations.
Holly Purd says, Fenn suggests felt-soled waders. I recently discovered they are no longer allowed because of transport of biologic issues.
Right.
Do you believe that was another way of him saying we don't need them?
The felt-sole waders were recently, they started regulating them as recently as around 2011. None of us wear them anymore. We have to wear either rubber soles or, what do they call it, neoprene, so that you're not transporting biologic damage from one river to another that are dangerous mostly to the fish. But I don't know that makes a difference. And Sean brings up a point here. He says, I believe Fenn has mentioned having a different insole on your waders, which in my opinion would allow for further travel. And I do that. I have 2 sets of waders. One is a chest wader that has an outside pair of boots with it that is very comfortable to hike with. And then I have another pair of hip waders that the only way you can use them either in or out of the water is with an insole, one of those Dr. Scholl's rubber insoles. Because if you try to walk any distance with it, it's just painful. And even in the water, there's not enough density between you and the river so that you can't feel the rocks on the bottom of the river. I think it is possible. It's still not a comfortable hiking experience. Any way you look at it, whether you have insoles or not, it's just not. There's no ankle support. There's no insole support. Unless even if you do add the insoles to them. So I don't know. I mean, I could see it, but I don't think a set of waders would be required. Certainly, if it was required, I'm definitely out of this chase because I am not going to hike our distance, the distance we have to go to in waders. So we're almost at 2:30.
We just got a super chat from Mark Carl for 123. What is it? Kroner. Thanks for this channel. Good work, Toby and Shelley.
Thank you. It's Mark Carl. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark Carl. That's very kind of you. We love Kroner.
Robert Walker wants to know, are there any areas that are still closed due to fires?
Not that I am aware of in New Mexico. There was something going on in Colorado, but I think they beat back all their summer fires. There was something west of Yellowstone that made it smoky, but I think all the fires in the Rockies are done. We had a good late summer monsoon season, and that helped with a lot of the fires. Now, there are some locations, very minor locations, in which travel through those locations as they do the post-mortem on the fire are closed. But to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing closed, nothing of any significance closed in New Mexico except for one wildfire that's on private property up the Moreno Valley someplace, but I don't think there's anything left anymore. You can always go to nmfireinfo.com, and that tells you what's the fires in New Mexico.
And Sledneck wants to know, are felt-soled boots illegal in all of New Mexico?
Yes. Yeah, they are now regulated completely in all the waters of New Mexico.
Okay, that's it.
Oh, great. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you. It's been a fun show. So let me transition over to this so you can close on. And there you go.
And when are we going to Cody?
Actually, the searcher called us or wrote me this morning. I don't have the exact dates. It was kind of the last weekend in September. So I told her that you and I would talk because she's committed. She's making reservations.
Oh, okay.
And so let's talk, and so we can get back to her this afternoon, make a decision for her.
Okay. End of the month.
End of September. So it means we might do a couple of shows that we did, like we did, where we live stream and you can chat. But why do you have?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Oh, here. No, it's because you're, hang on. Educated, let go, header text, spell screen. I don't know. That's information,
weird.
But it's okay.
Funny? Oh,
yeah.
Well, you got your little crawl on.
Yeah, that's
the
what
bottom.
I'm saying. It's because you're seeing the slide.
Okay. So anyway, tonight, hope you'll come back and visit with us on the Softer Side After Dark. We're talking about commitment phobia, or the fear of commitment, and why that happens and how to get around it and solve those problems. We are, if all goes well, we might even take some live calls. So I would check that out tonight, 7 o'clock on the softerside.me.
So you're going to do live calls and text tonight?
Well, we can give it a try.
It ain't me. It's your it's your show.
We can definitely try it tonight.
I'm just a technical director on that show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Should be fun.
Yeah, why not? And then, of course, Friday at 1 o'clock. That's tomorrow. Not August 31st, but tomorrow. There'll be another All About You, and as Toby announced, it's Jonathan Jones, and he's from the UK. So even if you have no interest in the chase, watch it just to listen to him talk. So
yeah, it's
always fun to hear that
great
accent.
UK accent. But it was what I thought of as a good interview. It was very informative. He had some really good ideas, and again, the crossword puzzle idea came out, which I thought was really fun. But he and his family spent what I would call an amazing 5 weeks in the U.S., literally traveling from coast to coast to coast. He went from the Northeast to the Southeast to the West to the Southwest, and then back up into Yellowstone over a 5-week period. So they had a great time. And as I said, you'll see, if he hasn't already, you'll see the link to his video. Actually, did I post it? I didn't post it. But it is in the description box of this video that's releasing tomorrow.
And then tomorrow night.
August 31st. Apparently I just did it.
Tomorrow night is not August 31st.
Control D.
And neither is it the lineup for August 31st. I don't know where you're getting these slides from. Please ignore all dates that Toby writes, because it's a little date challenged. But tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Toby's going to be doing a live stream call-in edition where he's going to answer all your questions. So it's Stump the Tobster.
Yeah, Stump the Toaster. You're going to be in the chat room?
I will be in the chat room, yes.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I felt like after the gremlins that we experienced this week that at least I owed you 1 hour, and I've sacrificed, and I want you to know that I'm normally Friday night I go to Route 66 to play poker, but I'm going to sacrifice that on your behalf tomorrow. And I'm going to listen to your questions. It's call in, chat, and text messages, and we'll get all the questions that I didn't get to answer this week off the table, so I can feel good about the week. So we'll do that. This is just a one-time thing. As you can tell, we're figuring out this technology, and we'll continue to improve it and expand it into our other offerings.
So he'll be like a one-armed paper hanger.
Yeah, doing text, calls,
all these different things.
Everything. So
I have a friend who does a show, and he's trying to do live, and he has done it live. He does puppetry. So you've got the one going here, and he's over here on the keyboard, and I'm like, how do you do that? It's crazy.
What's his name? Mention his name.
Grant Bachoco.
Grant Bachoco. He
has a couple of YouTube channels, Saturday Morning Media and Toilet Tea Paper. And Toilet Tea Paper is his little toilet paper puppet, and he's got quite the personality. So look him up on YouTube.
Yeah, he's a really fun guy, and whenever the troupe, the puppeteer troupe from
Henson, or which one are we
Jim
talking
Henson,
about?
Jim Henson goes when they travel, when they tour.
Well, Puppet Up. He's with Puppet Up. He's also with the Mystery Science Theater 3000. He is going to be on tour with them throughout October. So if you're interested in Mystery Science Theater 3000, they are on tour. You can find that online. You can Google it. And they'll be on tour all through October and part of November. And he's in the show. He is a puppeteer. He does Crow, the gold robot.
If you're familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000.
So yeah, check that out. Grant Bachoco. He's also Mr. Grant online, and it's a lot of fun.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. So is that it for today?
I believe we are.
All right. You know what? I was watching Owen video, and he says we're supposed to have like a little catchphrase at the end. So do you have a catchphrase for us today?
Catchphrase.
Like,
you mean a little.
Always be searching, or I don't know, something.
Oh,
like,
that kind of catchphrase?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're supposed to do that at the end of our show.
Make sure you wear clean underwear.
I don't like that catchphrase. No. So send in your favorite AGK catchphrase.
Right, that's a good one.
We'll start using it.
Yeah, send us what you think should be the AGK catchphrase at the end of all our programmers before we go to outro, and we'll start using that. Although, honestly, I don't see what's wrong with make sure your underwear.
Because it doesn't have anything to do with our channel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like something like, look under the rainbow, or I don't know, something
catchy,
because it's a catchphrase. But if you have an idea for a good catchphrase for when we Sean, when he goes, catch you on the flip side, well, that's his little outro catchphrase. So we need one of those. So send us your ideas, and we'll go through them and figure one out.
Watch our show.
So thanks for being here, for all your patience, your comments, your questions, your phone calls, your texts, and all the love that you send our way. Oh, and the wine that we enjoyed today from John Tack, and all the future wines that we're going to be receiving and
that's
drinking.
A heck of an assumption. Yeah.
Well, we had somebody said they want to send us wine. And for Super Chat as well. Appreciate that. Yeah, catch you on the flip side. Sean says that. That's right. So send us your ideas for EGK, and we will see you tonight at 7 o'clock. And for Gypsy Kiss, the book club, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Drink more wine.